Scene on the radio.
Let's see.
All right, we're gonna start the meeting right now for the road report.
Yeah, I don't think I can tell you anything you don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know how your road held up. I haven't been back to look.
Tonight, there's ruts, there's a
Oh
pair of
my
them where
God.
people, but they're like that deep, so.
Where
But
the
it's-
Subarus drive.
Or somebody, but I mean, it's up the center of the road, so they just come back, but it's not, it's dry.
I ran out of time to get there with the home, and the grader's been busy everywhere else. And like I said, my boys, I'm running out of time because tomorrow will be too hard for the truck to do anything.
Yes.
The road is smooth except for those ruts, so it's good enough.
Use the York rate.
Huh?
I wasn't expecting a York rate.
Oh, you got something. You got some berries, not sand.
Yes, yes, we did. You know, the evil something. Every now and then you don't have the time to let everybody sit still and put the screen through it and this and that. And if, I got one hired truck and it's sitting out there eating up probably somewhere in the vicinity of $110 an hour. You don't want it sitting around waiting for a low sand to go onto it. And so that's kind of, I wish that but if you didn't have them goobers in there, you wouldn't have good sand. So I don't know what to tell you.
You get traction on them.
The big ones.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to tell you. If it's clean enough to have none, it ain't no good.
We've got for high stuff, man.
Matt,
Were you hauling today?
I didn't haul anything today. I was just.
Oh, I saw one of our trucks and then Matt went up the valley.
Oh, yeah.
Working together.
My truck that I drive was out there today, and Matt's and Larry's was out there. And I had Thomas's truck with the home, just trying to catch up, because I had things looking halfway decent yesterday, and then the traffic in the afternoon kind of decided to destroy all that. And so I started over again this morning because I knew that it was today or not worry about it. And so that's what we were trying to do.
Brenda dumped some 1.5 inch stone down the bottom of the dugout. And when they dumped it, it was hard. And so the ruts, where it's deep is all washboarded, but when it got warm the other day, it mushed half of it in. And I thought their timing was a little off, but I guess it's better than nothing.
Well, the time is, that's one of the problems with that real rock. Once the ground freezes, it looks like bad timing.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna get it out there during the mud either. So I don't know, but I do wish that we had, like pure sewer stone. Because some of that would work really good in some of these really deep mud holes. I had a couple loads of it, and I used it up there by Mike O'Donnell's there, and that was on the first time it blistered up, and that's been holding ever since. But next year, even that will go back to hell. But it seems to work good for a full year anyhow. Then it goes down and visits somebody under the ground because you can't find it.
Your equipment running well?
Seems to be.
Good.
Seems to be. I get a little nervous about
That's that.
seems to be I get a little bit worried when we put the hours we do on that 4-wheel drive, that something could go wrong. Yeah, no, there's no real. Yeah, all you gotta do is ride with us and you can see that that's not an easy chore for that girl to do.
Mhm.
You know,
And, so it's. Kind of makes you nervous once in a while. Knowing what it does cost.
anywhere on the new truck, it's still fall,
Oh,
on a good day.
we're still, the truck has been ordered. I'm not sure exactly when, they think it's gonna come through. And Viking was supposed to, work a date out with us, so when the truck showed up, it would be closer to our date. And, to be honest with you, I'm not really sure that's coming through like it's at. It, I don't know who calls the shots, but, whether they're just plain, everybody buys the same equipment. I don't know why they're so worried about having that equipment on the ground. You know, just in case your deal don't go through, they don't wanna order up. And so I just don't understand it. You know, it's like I said, it's the same equipment everybody puts on their trucks.
What is it? It's a Viking body and what's the,
Everything's Viking now, right?
it's all Viking?
Well, if we wanted to go somewhere out in like Syracuse, New York, we can still get a Tenco body put on it. And, which I'm not 100% sure how far that really is, but everybody tells me it's 4 and 5 months, 4 and 5 hours out there.
It's beyond Rutland. I know.
Yeah, I know that too. I've actually been through there, but I couldn't really tell you how long it took me to get there. And I can also tell you Buffalo is a long way away.
Yeah, you know. Oh, yeah, I Are we in need of a new front loader?
Well, that was a quote that came in.
Rodney Street.
Wasn't necessarily dreaming, but
On the wish.
I was told to get one by the board, so there it is.
Makes us feel good we don't need it.
Right,
Makes us feel good that our old ones were $27,000.
right, and then in
Yeah, ain't that
2
terrible?
years, we can double that
Yes,
figure.
yeah.
Yeah.
They probably won't give us 20,000.
That is the situation, is it, you know, it goes up, 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 and ain't nothing we can do about that. Sand seems to be holding up. Hopefully we get some good results with sand we've been putting out. There's so much fine dust in this stuff up Chelsea that we need something to go with it. And I'm hoping this is gonna be where we've used it in the past, it seems to bring it together. I mean, potash up here was unbearable one year and we finally put some of that up through and that's been pretty good. That with new stuff on top seems to make a little divider.
Mhm.
And so, hopefully everybody's happy with that. And, but if we get another mud season before the real mud season, I'm gonna need Matt down there with his excavator to help me get some material.
Mhm.
Because, I don't have a big pocket of that good stuff, but, this has definitely been one of those years that you couldn't have kept up with if you wanted to with a big rock.
Mhm.
Because, it takes almost what we stored every time we fix it.
Right,
Like you said, the red road sure gets greasy every time it gets warm,
sure does.
you know.
I'll tell you that, I don't have an awful lot to tell you about. Just hoping that we're getting closer to a real mud season and then we can have a real summer or something. I last year, I thought I was sick of mowing my lawn, but I don't think I am.
Maybe you were sick of mowing your lawn in the rain.
Oh, that might have been. Yeah, you like the blacktop?
Do I like it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you moved off the hill.
100 feet of stone driveway rather than a mile of mud is kind of nice.
I've heard that a few times.
But Whalen said you did a good job the other day down through. Apparently you went down through Low Bicknell there
Yeah.
on the corner. Had to do, that's always a mess down there, Low Ackerman's on that flat.
Well, this year, the water has really just sat right in the road.
Right.
Big time. The ditches are running and the road is full of water and, but I've been quite amazed that, I don't know exactly how much frost you had in the road. Because with this much water running along the sides of the road, it should be carving into the road, getting in the frost lines and coming in and breaking the road up. So far, we ain't seen any of that, and we've had a running water all year.
Well, it hasn't been that cold that long, so.
Right.
And
It might not be much frost.
and like I don't know if we've had any real, what you call ice in the brook at all this year.
No.
I've seen some years of ice, things.
Right,
When it comes out.
The river got almost iced over down the bottom of the hill when we had them 3-4 cold days, and then bang, it's gone.
So I don't know what we will expect out of the final end of this winter, but I hope next winter is nothing like this one. Gosh.
well, somebody asked me just a couple days ago, when you gonna post the roads?
Don't really know.
It's hard to tell when you're gonna post the roads, and the other thing is, it's you know, we basically are posting to tell the dump truck driver to stay off the road and the logger to stay off the road. The rest of them like to grind out there and beat the shit out of it. So that's kind of a. Was that recorded?
Yeah.
No posterity.
I didn't scratch that.
We're gonna put them away.
Raya's got one of them beat
Yeah.
things.
You need to do that.
I'll go in and I'll just like,
Yeah. You just have to swear when you say that.
I try not to, but sometimes I get excited.
that's fine.
Well, if that's all you got.
That's all I got. I better get out of here before I get excited.
I'll have Jeff say, 18 plus only.
Yeah.
Where's this residing?
Back to Moran.
Thank you, Rodney.
You're welcome.
Thank you, keep up the good work.
Well, we're trying, but sometimes it's like, if you're beating your head, you ain't getting too far.
All the men staying healthy.
Yeah,
Everybody,
everybody's doing all right. They, fired and I think I worked a little too hard. And then get up the next morning and find it all run it up again. That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
thank you.
You say that you keep banging your head on the wall, it feels good when you stop.
Yeah, yeah.
The only help there we go home.
Well, we'll check that one out.
Oh, a wing and a prayer. One of the guy's last name is Crosby.
Okay. That one you read on Kindle. Okay, good. Thank you.
Are you an avid reader?
I've never read that, but no.
He's laughing.
Yeah. Oh, okay, got it.
I'm reading one now about the fighter pilots that
Oh, really?
went with them guys, yeah.
Do we want to move Chief Solnecker up?
Sure,
Okay.
Yeah,
we're early.
Yeah.
but she's here.
Yeah, she stepped forward, all right.
From.
Yep.
Was that you that I saw pulling somebody over?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
That-
Good evening, how's everybody doing? All right.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, Zoom.
We are.
Oh, there we go. I knew there was a camera somewhere.
It's not working, so
Oh,
they're
it's
just,
not.
they can just hear us.
Oh, okay. I actually just wanted to stop by and see if you guys have anything for me, complaints. I know I've had Mariah sent one road complaint to me, about a motor vehicle issue, but otherwise I haven't really heard anything, so I was just checking in. 2 months are down in the contract, so I thought I'd check.
Yeah. The only complaint I have is if you would swing by Blakeman's now and again and keep eye on the road.
Okay, Blakeman's out of the road, got it.
Because he does crowd the road.
Yeah, into Howland.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, into the.
Yeah, the intersection.
Sorry, I'm still learning the road.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But you know what Blakeman is.
Yep.
Scare him if you can.
I don't know if I can, but,
And that's the only complaint I have.
okay, all right, you can do that. Well, when I went by earlier today, everything seemed to be on its phone.
He's a place to help.
Yeah, so.
No, I haven't heard of anything. I mean, what have you been doing?
So we've been doing traffic, been doing a little bit of trying to go some of the back roads, just learning the roads, that stuff.
Yeah.
It's been pretty much me and Oscar because, in the 1st of December, I lost one of my full-time officers. And then, I'm fully staffed now again, so, but yeah, so it's been me and Oscar, we've been trying to hit, some of the main stuff with speed and stuff like that, and, then the back roads, just trying to learn.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. We've been doing, I've had a lot of VIN verifications, some frauds that we've done, I assisted with the shooting that was up on, up
Oh,
there.
Button Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
What do you do with a VIN?
So verification of the VIN number on the vehicle identification number on the vehicle.
Oh, for registration.
Yeah, so they changed it since COVID. You don't have to necessarily do VINs unless there's something with, if they require it because it's a refurbished motor or something like that, or vehicle. So sometimes people they would just require them for certain salvage vehicles, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it seems like we're the only ones in the area that do them, so I've had quite a few calls from them. So.
You got anything for us?
No, we've been just plugging along. I mean, we've done about averaging about 3 hours a week from what our contract is, so I think we're on par for 5. So.
Yep.
Trying to keep it under control.
I guess I have a question for you. I think that we had previously talked that if we wanted to get, there was somehow some reimbursement or something, if you were to pull people over and we had an ordinance on, am I remembering this correctly? If we have an ordinance on speeding in the village, and then you stop and give somebody a traffic ticket, if we had an ordinance on that, X amount of dollars goes to the town.
So, that's not done by me, that's done by the traffic ticket, the bureau.
Okay.
So when we put where the ticket was written at in Tunbridge, that will go back to you.
Okay, if I have the ordinance.
Well, if it's a state violation, like, say 107, which is a local speed.
Yeah.
Then you would get
Okay,
it.
but if it was like a back
If
road.
we're doing it on an ordinance, then yes, you would have to have an ordinance.
Okay.
But like most of them are doing, so if it's a back road that's not posted properly, it'd be basic rule, that's a 1081. So, and that's a state regulation,
Okay.
so those would all come back to the town,
Okay.
so.
So we don't need an ordinance for Vermont State routes?
Not the main routes, I mean, it's nice to have them, just because you can also, there's also 1008, which is the municipal ordinance. So if you were to, like, stop signs can fall under that, then you could write it's a higher violation. So
it probably would be good to work on and just have anyways.
A lot of towns that and I took over an agency that was very focused on traffic tickets. I think every town we work for has traffic ordinances that mimic the state's laws, and then, like Chief was saying, you can write it like a stop sign. There's a couple different ways you can write it, and she knows more about. I get all these things confused, but you can write the stop sign as a local ordinance, and and that should go back to the town.
That's what it is.
What happens is more money goes back to the town for a local ordinance than the state violation.
Right.
I think maybe what we had discussed previously was that, like parking violations or things like that, which
Yeah.
like would happen like around the green and stuff, where
Right.
and they have an
And
ordinance for that.
those I don't necessarily, I have traffic tickets that I write for those.
Mhm.
And those, though, all that goes straight to the town, but I only write for $25 and $50 violations, I don't do like a traffic ticket.
Yeah.
And those would be kept, and you know, if that's what you decide to do, those be kept with you, like,
Make
you
payable
know,
to Tunbridge.
make payable to Tunbridge,
Okay.
yeah. It's not a lot, but I mean, I probably about 70% of the tickets get paid,
Mhm.
so. You know, which is a pretty good percentage.
Mhm.
A few of them, you're not are gonna be paid, and I can't make people pay them, it's not like a traffic ticket where they get their license suspended
Mhm.
if they don't, but, you know, if I find that I've ticketed like one car 4 different times, probably next time I'm gonna show it, so,
Yeah.
yeah. And usually that's not so much for parking, but like, well, it's the overnight ban, the snow ban, if you have a winter ban or something, so.
I will look into that some.
How are things going in Royalton?
Busy, every place is busy now,
Yeah,
so, yeah.
and is there a recommended, did you propose a recommended budget for this one?
Yeah, actually, our budget increased a bit this year, just because prices increase, you know. So, and, I've got a new car that I'll be getting at the end of the month, so. But I have a fund that just goes,
Equipment
yeah,
fund.
Right.
so.
What is your law enforcement budget?
It's just over 300,000, so.
Did you just hire a new man?
I hired a new woman, yep,
Well,
she's full-time, yeah, no, that's
Pretty
right.
perfect.
So, new person, yes, I just, started Anna Ingraham, she's from Norwich. She was working in Norwich, she
Oh, right.
moved here, Royalton. So she started, 2 weeks ago, actually, this is her 3rd week starting. And then I've got a young man starting at the academy in March, so once I get him, trained, he'll be on the road as well, for some hours, so. Yeah, and he works full-time down in Hartford, Fire Department. So their shifts are crazy. They're 24-hour shift and then they have 48 off. Then they work 24 and have four days off. So I'm like, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
So, but you know, so he'll have a good amount of time to you know, work for me.
Huh.
So, and I've got hours that I can use, so.
Cool.
Good.
And did you guys get the stats and stuff that I sent you? I sent them over.
Did I forward those to you? I think it was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, remember that.
Okay, well, I did send them, so,
Oh, 2 weeks ago, Gary.
I'm like
We slept
99%
like that.
I sent it to you, but I will resend right now.
I don't have my phone.
Well, you can read it for some late night
Oh,
reading.
later.
if there's something different you want, if the format's not right or something, you don't like it, just let me know, okay? I just put something together, and sorry, the first month was a little late, we just changed systems, and the, Valcor that the state is on is not as user-friendly as Spellman is, so, to get stats out,
Okay.
so.
I did send it to you, I'm resending it.
So.
All right, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
What are we gonna do? Yeah.
Is Joe supposed to join us or?
After all.
I mean,
Or is this something we can do with that?
I think it's something we can do without it, but we could bump back up to Brian, because
Okay.
he's here.
Okay.
The
Okay.
only thing we cannot change, although Fred Pond is here, I was told to keep
We
that
can
on.
pay Fred Pond.
No, we cannot change. I'm not.
Well, but if I can jump in, I was worried that a meeting before this, I would miss the tax delinquent discussion. And now I don't have that meeting, so I'm comfortable whatever way you go.
Love it.
You
Thank
can
you.
break away,
Yeah.
break away from whatever you're doing, Fred, we'll try it at 7 o'clock.
You're not having your faces, it's harder to understand you. It's interesting.
I know, I don't know why this isn't working. I've tried unplugging it and plugging it back in. I can start just the regular computer video, but it will just be my face.
Well, that's not bad.
You know.
I don't know. I'm just trying to do this here. Or you know what? We'll just put it here and you can look up at us. There we are. There's Gary. That's all you want to see, so. Perfect.
It's funny, you can hear better when you see.
You're a visual guy, Fred.
Yeah. see you, Fred.
That's the problem, we can't see you,
We
Fred.
can't see.
Well, here, there we go.
There he is,
There we go.
Oh,
that
There we
is
are.
you. Or is it AI? Is it really Fred?
Deep fake.
Yeah.
Who knows?
All right, I guess we're gonna switch to Ryan.
All right, well, sorry, I'm late.
Oh, you-
I had listed 6:30 to be here.
Yeah, you're not
Like
late.
that.
We're so fast today.
yeah.
Somebody's just, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. So we got a little, I'm not quite sure what we wanted to go about this, but I put together a little presentation somewhere. What we had talked about in Chelsea.
Let's see if I have another USB. Hang tight, everybody.
Hold on, just a
Yeah, have some pineapple juice. Okay. Not gonna be on the TV either right now. Oh, gosh. Yes, I am. Oh, Brenda's got, look at what Brenda's got for us.
pancakes?
Cookies.
Oh,
Well, where are they? I was not here faster.
Yeah. Exactly.
Ben was over.
Okay.
Ben was making something.
Good thing that I came and this wasn't online. You could have. I can't even do it right now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, right? Hmm.
Now the owl will probably work.
Yeah, right. That would be good.
Well, sorry for being so difficult,
No.
which is
Oh, man, check it out.
the conversations I've had to have with many of my chiefs, so. Along the way, hey, sorry for being so difficult here. All right, well, that's, you probably don't have a clicker, do you?
Nope, but I'm gonna sit over here.
Oh, right.
You're gonna run it?
Yeah, such a pain.
Yeah,
Um,
okay, Ben, take over.
Yeah.
Just want to kind of introduce myself to folks here in Tunbridge, because you're in Windsor County, you're subjected to my obnoxious campaign. You probably saw my face every day on Facebook and everything else, but my name's Ryan Palmer. I started my career in 2006 for the Paramount Police Department. Went to the police academy for them. I bounced around a little bit. I was elected in November of 2022. I took office in February of 2023. So I'm an Iraq and Afghanistan war veteran of the United States Air Force. Been through the FBI LEADA trilogy course, which is 3 separate supervisory courses. Just went through the National Sheriff's Institute, I think in March, right after I took office, which was held down at Quantico, Virginia, the FBI Academy. I've been through school resource officer training, the FBI Crisis Negotiator School, firearms and active shooter instructor. some SIU investigations in Windsor and Ludlow. I'm on the select board in Windsor, so just kind of give you a quick overview of some of my personal training and history. You see the best looking guy there, and the whole picture was me, or that maybe, yeah, it's not the case, but I like to tell myself that, you know, but that was from the FBI. So some of the things I talked about during my campaign, I'm not here to campaign, but just kind of touch on my policing philosophies, right? Is that this is not the Vermont that we grew up in or moved to or whatever, right? We've seen, doing some research, we had 24 homicide investigations last year, 27 dead bodies in Vermont related to homicide, right? And we generally average around the low teens to mid-teens. And so when you look at the percentage of that, it's pretty significant, right? And I think you're feeling that here up in Orange County, just the difference in the violent crime and the type of things that we're dealing with out there or not. And the chief can tell you, this is not, it's not the Vermont that we started our careers in, right? And to hear about a drug-related homicide or a robbery or a kidnapping or human trafficking or a stolen car, right? That wasn't heard of when we started. And now it seems to be more commonplace than anything else, right? I'm not trying to be doom or gloom, but we're having this conversation for a reason, right? And I think to really push back against that, we really need to focus with our youth. We've done a lot of things. We work with Windsor County Youth Services down in Cavendish, which is the far southern end of Windsor County. There are kids that are in DCF custody. We cook them dinner. We try to stop in and get involved in the schools. We just had our canine guy at the Sharon School. Brookhaven, I stopped in Brookhaven to tour with them. We'll be, I think next month, we're going there cooking dinner. Food's a big thing for me. A lot of these kids have never had a home cooked meal. So I think sitting down, breaking bread, so it's a big part. Helping those that want help, right? We're not going to be able to police our way out of the scenario that we're in Vermont, right? We can't just beat everybody with a stick. But those people that want help, we should be a conduit of, you know, and again, Chief can tell you that we're generally dealing with folks that are in the absolute worst time of their lives, right? And for us to be there, I just had a meeting with Turning Point, which is a substance use organization, substance use disorder organization down in Springfield and White River, and they have 24/7-hour recovery coaches. So I pushed that out to my folks. Hey, if you're dealing with somebody, you arrest them for drugs or for a DUI, throw these numbers out. Try to get them help, you know, so it's constantly, how can we improve that process to be a help for people? And then third, which I like the most, is proactive policing. We, since COVID and a lot of like the defund movement, a lot of things that happened in American policing. I think a lot of it overall was for the good as a profession. We've been able to evolve and change the way we deal with things. And you know, when we first started, it was, I'm the cops, I'm here, you're going to do what I tell you. And if you don't, there's going to be some consequences, right? That's not always the way to deal with every situation. And I think, you see Chief's body camera, we all have body cameras now, dash cameras, all these things that probably would not have happened without kind of the social unrest that we've had. But one of the negative effects on policing is that we've seen a lot of people get out of the profession. Right? Did you ever think Vermont State Police would be at 60 or 40% staffing, whatever they're at? Or, you know, a lot of these agencies around here are well below their allocated manning, right? I mean, we're having this conversation because of what's going on up here. And we've gotten away from proactively policing. I don't mean kicking everybody's door, but just the fact that people, that you see a cruiser, you're stopping, you're interacting with folks. You know, we had Chelsea the other night, I call them there's some tourists down from Barrie about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, parking in one of the parking lots. And I was very kind and happy to give them directions back to Barrie. And they were very thankful that I did that. It's kind of, at least that's, I think, what he was waving out the window and he was screaming on the way back to Barrie. But, you know, it's a whole different animal. And we have to be proactive. And that's, I push my guys to go out. And proactivity isn't just stopping cars and arresting bad guys. It's also stopping in the schools, stopping in the gas stations, interacting with your community, because you are the people that know what's going on, right? The highway guy is out there fixing the roads, but he sees everybody driving around the local gas station. They know everybody, you know, the local store. They know everybody that's going on. So That's kind of my philosophy in policing. These guys, are gonna start Tuesday. They're a little young, but we'll get them up to speed. This is from a parade we had in Windsor. I'm just. The sheriff's departments are a little bit different than a municipal law enforcement agency, right? Statutorily, I'm required to serve civil process, divorce paperwork, subpoenas, all those type of things. Transport prisoners, right? I have 2 state paid deputies that transport prisoners full-time. And transport mental health patients. The rest of it is contractual law enforcement that we're able to do. That's why we're having this discussion tonight. If all goes well and town meetings and everybody's budget passes, if you guys are interested in me, we'd be in the neighborhood of 13 towns we're providing law enforcement service for. We also have court security, both in the Windsor criminal and civil courts, and we send 3 folks up to Barry every day because Washington County was short, having a hard time.
Really?
Yeah, they're in a tough market because the court reimburses us $51 an hour. It seems like pretty good money, but when you count in our retirement, we're in state group F, retirement costs us almost 18-19% depending on the year. So you're paying a $30 an hour, it's $6 an hour just in retirement. Health insurance, as you all know what that's looking like more and more. So in Washington County is competing against Montpelier and Berry City and all these places that are starting guys off at big numbers. We also work with the Department of Children and Families, both transporting youths that are in custody all across the state. We're one of the more proactive sheriff's departments in that sense. And we also do supervision. There's a couple sites around the state where our folks provide supervision, kind of babysit these kids with DCF workers. We've done twice. We've been contracted with the Capitol. John and I ran into each other the other day, where we've been able to augment the Capitol Police, who are in a real tight bind. Private security, road details, those type of things, and assisting other agencies. We worked with the Department of Homeland Security Investigations, who are one of the more proactive federal law enforcement agencies in the state. We work with Rutland City with them. They involved some pretty, augmenting them hitting search warrants and those type of things. Chief and I were working on something this weekend. We had something cooking, and unfortunately it didn't go quite the way we wanted, but we try to be a real good partner to all our municipal friends. There's us. Unfortunately, I like this picture, but it was at Officer Ebba Housing's funeral in Castleton, so it's a little bittersweet. So the department, not that you care, but I think it's a cool fact, started back in 1781. So, we're at 25 sworn law enforcement officers right now. I have 3 that are headed to the police academy, 25 cruisers, 2 snowmobiles, players side by side, and a canine teams. And so 25 deputies, like I said, but we have a drug recognition expert on staff. 7 of us are death investigation certified. We have firearms and use of force instructors in-house. I'm a certified school resource officer, and I think one of our other officers is as well. And I have a guy in crisis negotiation school, hostage negotiation, whatever you want to call it, right now. And I'm certified. I went through the FBI's course. Sorry.
Do you have anyone on staff that can deal with animals?
Yes, basically.
But then,
So the short answer is yes. I don't have an absolute designated animal control officer, although that's something that we want to look forward. This is such a tough budget season, so asking extra from anybody, but eventually I'd like to fund a full-time position that is, or at least a half-time position that is just a strictly animal control officer. Every cop in Vermont can deal with animal cruelty issues and all that. Generally, we bring folks in, from a Humane Society or whatever else to deal with it, because it's not. Again, the chief can tell you the animal complaints sometimes are more complex than some of these murder investigations, right? It just becomes such a problem. But just showing us off. This is at the Cedar Creek room in Capitol. That was the first week our first day we were up there. Some of the cool things I'm very proud about when I took office. We brought in Lori Gurney, who's a psychologist. So I make my staff see her once a quarter. And it kind of beats down that stigma. Law enforcement, now trauma and things that we're exposed to just on a daily basis.
has had a real negative effect over the years, right? And we've seen, we lose more cops to suicide than we do to violence, right? At a pretty alarming rate. So bringing in Lori, has been fantastic. She's actually works with the state police also, a couple of agencies. I had a deal signed for body cameras before I took office. Training, I think last year we spent over $50,000 on training. And that, we had a county budget of 30, but we're bumped up to 50 because I think my thing is if you want better cops, you have to make them. And again, we talk about everything's expensive right now. All these trainings, you know, and again, the chief will tell you, some of these trainings are $700, you know, $200, $700 plus you're paying for people. But there's a huge cultural shift within the agency, getting away from just writing traffic tickets, and I'm very proud of that we've become pretty much a full service law enforcement agency. We've been working, like I said, with the Department of Homeland Security, which is not just border stuff. They touch anything that crosses the border, guns, drugs, whatever. We've been working with them. Setting up social media and a website was, it sounds silly, but people seem to really love that. It's a good way to spread our message and communicate with the community. We have a couple different cars right now. We rebranded, and it sounded, again, kind of silly to come in and rebrand, but to change the direction and the thought process of the deputies, the way they felt about themselves, the pride in the job, I thought it was very important to change and rebrand. So we went with Tahoes. They look a lot bigger and more expensive, and because the civilian cars are, but the police package wise, they're about the same money, and we think they're more rugged rigged. So we have maybe 8 Tahoes out there, 4 Explorers, F-150s, but you see a couple different color schemes that we're working with. That, and then yeah. So these are some of the trainings. I'm not going to bore you, but just a lot of different stuff. You know, we're becoming an agency that, you know, Chief Stallmacher was very gracious and came down and provided radar training, which is a whole, you know, it's actually a pretty good class. We've been hosting a lot of trainings at our agency. This is that shows off some of our rigs, but this is a moon dance in Windsor, my hometown. Just we set up a display, handed out. I cleaned up a dollar store, candy and toys and stuff. And that. This is at Ludlow for Halloween. So community involvement is really big. For Vermont Law Enforcement Agency, we've gotten pretty big because the average Suffolk Police Department is probably around 6 in Vermont, if that. We're pushing up 30, but we've been involved with 31 stolen guns sitting off the street with 3 different big graves. And if you heard about my scenario with the picket, there's 3 guns involved there. Another scenario down in these guns were actually in Sharon. They were stolen out of Brattleboro, and we touched it. You know, we worked with Brattleboro PD and hit that house. But I think just kind of ones we were directly involved in, 31 stolen guns or stolen or in the possession of prohibited people. So that is another thing I'm pretty proud of. Next slide, please. Little teddy bear. These kids didn't vote for me, so that's where they go. That's
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Green Up Day. I'm trying to do some community event stuff. And if you've never done Green Up Day and walked around the sides of your roads and picked up trash, you'd be shocked at the things. The amount of trash that people throw out when it drives me absolutely nuts. So those teddy bears, a little program that we're doing, we bought them Amazon. One of my executive assistant, one of the secretaries, she made the little shirts, got them off Amazon, but when she put the sheriff and stuff, because, you know, some of these things you respond to and some of the things that these kids grow up in, you know, maybe somebody just watched their mom get beat up or OD on drugs, and I don't know if that teddy bear is going to change the world, but it might make them feel a little better, a little bit of comfort. So that was a big thing we were doing. But
Oh no, I messed it up.
oh, I broke it.
Yeah.
Again, Canine Kai, that just touches on our body cameras. She's a 2-year-old Dutch Shepherd, Jackson Hounds, actually a Tunbridge boy. Doing a great job with that. So we got her in the mix. She can track people, tasers. Go ahead, use tasers. We do taser training out behind our building. So I sent this to you guys. I think you kind of had it, and I don't know if you want to talk about things or money or anything like that, but
Well, I think what we want, we're trying to get some information for town meeting.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what people want to spend,
Sure.
and that's the biggest reason I think they called me.
Yep.
Is to see, you know, if we're gonna stick with $5,000 a year
Yeah.
or $67,000, you know.
Yeah, and I think, so. Being in your seat in a different town, right, and starting off with we started off with about 15% increase and we're able to whittle that down. By really not being able to do anything other than just keep up with, our contractual obligated cost. It's really tough. But I think to be realistic, $5,000. I guess I don't know if I'd even spend, if I was gonna spend $5,000, I'd just say maybe we'll just buy some more gravel instead and say the hell with it, because I don't know that that's worth. I don't know if it's worth anybody's time, whether it's ours or the chief's, you know, and not to speak for her, but when you look at that kind of return right now and the amount of, you know, it just doesn't get you very far, right? And I think realistically, I think spending something what Chelsea did, you know, it's kind of the times we're living in right now. I don't want to oversell you, but
If we hired you, would that fit in good with Chelsea? I mean.
yeah, I think it does. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think you're getting good, you know, the chief, they can also offer some really good service as well. They've got a good crew down there, so I don't think that that's a bad option either. I think from just from our standpoint, I think it works well. We have the capacity to provide service for you. I've grown kind of an exponential rate, and I've got probably more people than I have patrol hours for. So we find these other ways to fill in the blanks, and government highway safety that we use a lot. And I have people that want to come work for me, and they see the chief, you know, it's about culture, and she's got people who want to come work for her. So it says a lot, right, in this day and age. But we have the capacity, and I think it does make sense with Chelsea Tunbridge and having, you know, the way that we would be running that process is, you know, whatever it is, 10 or 12 hours a week, you decide to mimic Chelsea. And it's not, well, I'm gonna sit here for a 4-hour block and then move down here. I think it, you know, bouncing around and kind of, one of the things I learned very early on in my career was you want to develop this omnipresence, right? And that basically means they don't know where you are. They think you're around everywhere, right? And sometimes I think probably Chief and I are working on weekends, texting each other, all this stuff, right? But having that presence and trying to, you know, teaming with Chelsea, so to speak, having those extra hours and kind of feeding off each other where, hey, you're here, we're bouncing around. I think that plays very well into, you know.
Well, I just wondered
things
if somebody called you from Tunbridge and you was in Chelsea, would that? Yeah,
so that's the way, if somebody called us from Tunbridge and we were in Bethel or Sharon or hopefully Stockbridge, you know, I mean, it's a poke, but if I'm trying to force regional policing, and we've kind of done that in the county, if I have people on, and we take a call, we're kind of moving, similar to the way state police was set up, and not that they're not set up that way now, it's just, but this regional footprint, and that, you know, you'll get what you pay for out of us, but if somebody's in Tunbridge and we get a call in Chelsea, well, we're gonna go there and vice versa. But that is the goal, and that is my push, that we seem to be pretty well staffing a night and day shift in the northern part of the county, southern part of Orange County has been very good to us, so we're trying to make sure that that's staffed accordingly.
What does this represent per hour contractually?
Around 65. Yeah, around $65 an hour. And that is, you know, where we decided to go with my new towns. It just, we have so much overhead, and we have no real, I got no state funding other than my base salary and my 2 state paid deputies. The county cannot pay for law enforcement with a stove beef and oil decision. So any of our law enforcement comes from contractual obligations, right? And we're growing at such a rate, we have pretty big overhead, you know, and I had to buy a lot of cars at once, and we've got a pretty big note on that, so. We're not making a killing on that, but it's able to keep the department afloat, you know, and that's why I have to charge what I have to charge there.
Yes, good question. Yeah, how would 911 response work? It used to be that, dispatch was done by the state police. If it was a robbery, they dispatched the state police, and they may or may not contact the sheriff. That was their decision per call. So sometimes, calls went unanswered. How would that work?
Yeah, so short answer, what you're gonna see as an end user is probably not gonna change. You're gonna call 911. If the dispatcher that picks it up, and that could be Royalton, or I guess Westminster now does the whole area. It could be Hartford, it could be Williston sometimes, depending on how the phone lines are backed up. And they GPS is on their end, so they will determine who to send to the call. I can tell you for the most part, you know, we're working on trying to streamline that process, that they are gonna try to send it to us if we've got people available. And we've been working with state police to try to streamline that process and make sure it's a good system. We're dispatched to Woodstock, but that shouldn't affect the end user. It's a little clunkier than we would want, but it seems to be the way with regional dispatch, and especially now different people are on different systems. And we've got two, you know, you've got state police doing their own dispatching thing. Hartford is now kind of conglomerate for dispatching in the area. Who's yours? Woodstock. And we have some money if they can pass the federal budget to upgrade our radio system, $1.24 million, to make some major upgrades to the radios, but they seem to work okay up here. They're working all right in Chelsea. It's not what I would like, but seems to be working. So short answer, well, I guess that wasn't a short answer, because I don't think I've ever had a short answer ever, but I think for the end user, we will get this, somebody will get this dispatched properly.
Yeah, it just used to be a gap sometimes at the discretion of the state police, so thanks.
Yeah, and I don't know, and I can't promise that that's not, I don't know if that process is flushed out as much as we'd like, but yeah. Chief, what's your experience with?
I do know right now that if the state's getting a call for Tunbridge, that's, you know, maybe not necessarily non-emergent, and they will give it to us. So if we're on, or, you know, we take care of it. If it's an emergent thing, you know, we're all going, but.
Yeah, that talks a little bit about just using Paris Highway Safety. Like I said, we're hoping to partner with one of the school districts and be around, and that whole thing too. And this talks about just why I think that we were here, but I know you guys had more business questions or thoughts too.
What are the accounts besides Chelsea and Orange County?
Just Chelsea right now, and you know, Tunbridge makes a lot of sense for us. When we start getting too far one direction or the other, I think it doesn't make sense anymore, but this corridor makes sense. You know, I think if there was a broader discussion with kind of four towns, Berkshire and Stratford, like I think we would be open to that discussion as well. You know, I'm not trying to put Orange County out of business, but you know, people also need police service. So, but right now, I don't really, Tunbridge is kind of all I really want in Orange County, unless there's a broader discussion and everybody can pay, you know, something that makes sense on our end, because I have my own county to take care of too.
Any questions, Bob?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm still there trying to promote this coordinated thing between towns and communities. And I did send you a little email there, what was going on in Chelsea. And, you know, I think that pulling a police agency together with 2 or more towns has its advantages. And I've never officially met you, I'm Bob Giles, right? We'll get emailed and, emailed and messaged, I don't know how many times, but.
Yeah.
Um,
He likes on my posts.
Chelsea right now has $46,500.
Yeah, that's
right. Correct. And they took what was left of their Orange County funds and then utilized some surplus funds that they had. So that we could move right in, they could move right into a contract. And we have one active from Central Vermont Intelligence-Based Policing. Carrie Delato up in Chelsea is and Linda Cuban are kind of working that area, and I'm Tunbridge, so I'm here. And right now they're looking at a budget of somewhere in the $70,000 to $80,000. And to go from the 46 to 70 rate. I think I've mentioned to both of you people that I thought $100,000 was, you know, if there's 2 or 3 towns at $100,000 could get some real police.
Yeah.
Well, it seems it's a lot of money. And you know, given the circumstances and things that are going on with taxes all over the state, whether it's school or whatever, it's a lot of money. But I can tell you the feedback that we're getting at CBI about Chelsea is unbelievable in just the, what, 2.5, 3 weeks that you've actually actively been in town. Almost all the dealing stopped in the village. They're just not showing up. And I had one individual call me and tell me, you're not gonna believe this, but my husband was having an issue and the ambulance was in our dooryard. And a Windsor County officer pulled in and wanted to know if there was anything he could do to help. That's salesmanship, that is community proactive policing. And so
It was actually me, I got confused, I thought he was still in Windsor County, so I was going around knocking for votes, but. It was actually me that.
So, okay, that's where Chelsea's at right now. Stratford. They're still doing a little bit of negotiating. They work as of a month ago, we're kind of looking more towards Thetford PD or Norwich PD, just because they share so many roads with those two communities. But they are looking at you too. And they're starting with $50,000. They already have that. They had 30,000 for constable, and they had another $20,000 for policing. So they're starting at 50,000. I don't know. I haven't talked to them in probably 3 weeks now, so I'm not quite sure. I did get a call from Berkshire. Now, I'd started with Berkshire and Chelsea originally, and now all of a sudden they're starting to show some interest. I have a little concern with Berkshire because my conversations with Williston and Rockingham is Berkshire is Williston and we're Rockingham for dispatch. Okay, this is from the state police. So interacting between these agencies, the state police, becomes a little bit of an issue. Nothing insurmountable, but a little bit of an issue. Whereas Stratford, you know, Royalton, Chelsea, Tunbridge are all out of the Bethel barracks, basically.
Berkshire's covered out of Bradford or?
Yeah.
Or something, yeah.
St. J. Bradford is a
It's an outpost.
yeah, that's a fingerprint station only. Now they pretty much closed it. St. J is the. So anyway, that's where I'm at, and I, you know, as a Tunbridge resident, I'd vote for $50,000 in the budget today, just like that. No question. Because I see the same thing here. You know, 16 years of taking care of this road out here from Washington to South Royalton. I saw a lot of shit. Pardon my French, but boy, it's pretty bad out there. And the later at night, the worse it is. And I think that we can't afford, and I don't think we need our own police department, 24 hours, 10, 12 officers running around. But like you said, 20-some murders in the state of Vermont. And what scares me the most are our rescue and fire people out there without having an officer backing them up when they need it.
Yeah, that's a
The
good
second thing that scares me is there's been 3 incidences in this town in the last 6 months where firearms were used because somebody was doing something that somebody else didn't like. All 3 of those incidences were good, solid, law-abiding citizens in this community. One of them got arrested. And that's because he did not have the training that that guy has. He knows when to pull his gun. He knows when to pull the trigger. But most of these people wandering around, whether it's open carry or concealed carry, don't have that training.
Right.
And I don't want to see our people getting in trouble because they don't have anybody to back them up when they need it.
Yeah, and to touch on what he's saying about the rescue squads and all that, and again, like, I don't think in this budget, we're gonna be able to solve that problem, you know, 100%, but some of these calls that are, emergency medical providers are forced to go on without help, and, you know, some of it is a cultural shift within VSP, some of it's a manning issue, but, they've been taking a very, liberal approach, I guess I'll say, with the Vermont use of force policy, statewide use of force policy, and they're just not responding to things that, you know, the chief or I would go to any day of the week, in just from a security and safety standpoint, right? At the end of the day, we're there to make sure people are safe, and I think there's a big disconnect on their view of the statewide use of force policy in regards to how we deal with mental health folks and whatnot. And what we're asking are, you know, $15 an hour EMTs to go in, volunteer EMTs to go in some of these situations. I don't like going in there with a gun, you know, so that's a wider conversation, you know, and I don't think we can solve that problem here, but I think it is. Again, I would go buy more gravel or something with that $5,000 than I would spend it on policing, because I don't think that's enough. I think getting into that, you know, plus or minus $50,000 range is probably where I would start. And I'm not just trying to upsell you, I don't care who you go with, but obviously I don't want to sell you a product, but I think that's kind of in that 10-12 hour a week mark, is what would make sense for your community, I think. And again, you know, I don't know what the stats are going to look like. I'm not promising 100 arrests, but I'm actually shocked at the feedback I'm getting from Chelsea. How much of a difference we've made in a short period of time, just from, and maybe some of that is just sticker shock, like they're not used to it, so they're, maybe Mr. Pickett's making some phone calls from jail and letting people know how we deal with characters like that, but we do care about being small town law enforcement and interacting with the community. My guys love working up here, and love being part of the community. So, and Jackson Howe would probably be the one that would take the majority of the hours here, especially the nighttime hours. And he's, like I said, he knows Tunbridge and Chelsea in the back of his hand, grew up here. He's got Kai with him, so that's helpful too.
Anything else, anybody?
Can I get to, I wanted to just run over a few more things, so I took some of the calls in Valcor from January 22, January 24. And I just wanted to kind of throw some stuff up on the board. Some of them, you know, I didn't get into the details of what the agency assists were. I think they had like 830 something calls in that time period. Some of those are a lot of medical calls. And I didn't bother putting those down, but you see, I mean, some of the things that are, you know, and this is a 2-year period, but I thought that was give us a little idea of what it's looking like last 2 years. I mean, there was 14 burglary calls in 2 years here. So that's, I mean, that's probably not what Tunbridge looked like 10 years ago, right?
Right.
The amount of citizen disputes, that can be a lot of different things. Those damn animal problems, but 911 hangups, 15 of those. That's interesting and concerning to me. I mean, we have, you know, you usually see a lot of 911 hangups if you got a hotel and all sort of stuff, but those sometimes can be really strange and sometimes lead into the domestic or whatever else.
It was probably my kid hitting the thing on my phone.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Call it.
that can be, but I mean, how many of those have you gone to where sometimes it's somebody calling for help and,
Right.
and now the majority of them have been nothing, but it's just something to process. Next
Does that
one,
mean that
what?
it starts out, they connect with the dispatcher and then hang up, or?
No, sometimes it's just whatever, it goes through and click. But it triggers the, hey, there was a.
So the minute, yeah, the minute you hit that last one, it goes through no matter what. And probably somebody's thinking, oh, I didn't want to do that, or,
Yeah.
you know, and then just hangs up thinking they won't, it's not gonna go through, but it
If you
does.
do it, they call right back.
Yeah, they call it back.
Yeah, and then usually any place that I've worked would respond to those. Once in a while, in Ludlow at the hotel, and then say, oh, security's checked it, it was an accident, because they had to dial 9 and then 1 to get out, you know, so go figure.
Yeah, the law school's still like that.
Yeah, so I mean, sometimes things like that, but when it's a house and you can't hear anybody,
I did that on my wife's car one.
oh yeah, but you have
No,
8
yes, you look.
8 death investigations up here, and I ain't digging if those were all untimelies or what those were. I suspect some of those were probably
That's me,
ODs.
yeah.
But 38 domestics, you know, it's a pretty significant
Yeah.
amount. Juvenile problems, who knows exactly what those were. There's one kidnapping, I didn't even dig into that. But you know,
What's FW?
Fish and Wildlife complaint, I'm sorry. So usually those are deer jacking or somebody hit a deer or something, but those are actually assigned calls to Fish and Wildlife. Next slide. You see the drugs call. The thing with Valcor, the records management system that they used to be on, that we're on still, each agency can change, can like
Yeah.
update. So I had to go through my agency assist, but then this one was like assist/agency. So things can be labeled differently. Or some other thing, you know, restraining orders either served or violated. I kind of condensed those, but 25, you had 48 suspicious calls in this 2-year period, which is generally, hey, there's a car down by the store, by the school, you know, hey, there's somebody creeping in my yard. The things that I've seen other agencies that might have an $81 million budget haven't responded to some calls that are somebody suspicious, hey, there's somebody on my porch knocking. Those are kind of scary. Now maybe it's nothing, right? But I think that can be kind of scary. 6 threatening, some wanted person, a lot of welfare checks, trespassing, vandalisms, 1 weapon offense. I think we're good in there.
What's it on now?
Lewd and lascivious, so somebody
Sex
touching a
offense.
kid, yeah. And actually, go back, they had them listed, so these were listed, so the L&L with a child is sex offense with a child, lewd and lascivious conduct. And then there's 3 other sex offenses, which I didn't dig into every call, but that probably was a adult sexual assault type thing. talking about who to call, you know, if it's a past tense, non-emergency thing, you could call our office, our number directly, or Woodstock Dispatch. But, you know, active crimes in progress, hit 911, we'll figure out who's gonna respond, who's, you know, who's coming, that type of thing.
And how does that work? You know, the VSP does not come, or do they sometimes respond with your department?
So at the end of the day, VSP is the default, and is always gonna be the default, that if, you know, if you're not in Royalton and there's an emergency, they are going to respond, in theory, if it's a, you know, some major incident, right? They're gonna take all homicide investigations. We are taking all the dead bodies from not all, but when we have an opportunity, we're trying to lessen the load on BCI, so we'll take suspicious, or not suspicious, but untimely deaths and suicide, and those type of things. Our accidents, the towns that we cover, just to try to lighten that load on BCI, because the way they're set up, road troopers won't handle death investigations of any sort. I have trained death investigators, including myself, that would deal with that. So, that's. I got off track, but your question was, well, is VSP gonna respond? But so
How do you work together, right?
sometimes we do, sometimes we like, hey, you know what, you're all set, you got a guy or two going to that. Or depending on the call, if we get, you know, if we ask for help or vice versa. There's not any hard and set rule, but it seems, you know, for the most part, everybody's willing to help everybody else out. For the most part. If
And
we
you're
call,
both hearing a 911, so I'm, you know, somebody's on my 40, which is, I call 911 from Tunbridge. Does it go to VSP, does it go to Windsor?
well, so
Sheriff's?
when you say, when you heard, am I gonna hear it? So a couple different things. One, right? You pick up the phone, it's gonna go to a emergency dispatch communications center, right? And like I said, that could be Hartford, they're a PSAP. Public safety answering phone, I think that's stand for. Or it could go to Royalton or Westminster now. Like I said, it could go to Williston or Lamoille County.
Lebanon.
Yeah, sometimes Lebanon, if you're close to the river, it goes over, but they're able to figure out, oh, wait, you're in Royalton, Vermont, or Windsor, or Tunbridge.
Yeah.
They have the software and whatever to then call or radio and go, hey, Chief Stonelander, we got, you know, somebody just stole something from the law school, and she'll go over, but on the back end, dispatch will figure that out, I guess, is that it's,
Right.
it's a clunky system right now, especially with the changes in dispatching. I don't know if there's a better way to describe it. It's still a little clunky.
Do you have good dispatch in Woodstock?
Yeah, I was with Ludlow, and then I moved to Woodstock, and I've been very happy with them. So, like I said, radio coverage up here is not great. Some of that is just the train. We need a view of Mount Scottney. So it's fine. But I think that they do a pretty good job down there. You know, the road cop always thinks dispatch could do better, and the dispatcher always thinks the cop could do better. But I think I'm very happy with the
I'm
service.
thinking about if somebody called you, if we hired you and they called you, rather than 911.
Yeah.
Does your dispatch
I'm
handle it?
confident in their abilities, you know. Yeah. I've, they're a fairly experienced crew, and they seem to be doing a pretty good job by all accounts, you know. I'm pretty happy that the lady that runs it is a like 18-year Vermont State Police dispatcher. She's really good, and I'm pretty confident in them.
There is currently some hardware and software upgrades coming into dispatch that is going to alleviate, hopefully, some of the problem that we're having, like you say, especially cell phones. Everybody's using them now. And when you dial 911 from cell phone, it can land in New York State. Literally. And you know, if you happen to be on top of Route 73 and Hancock, Vermont, when you dial it and you're right on top of the mountain, it's gonna land in Albany. And so right now, the federal government is working on a program. I've spent a little bit of time talking with Williston and Rockingham. Those are the two state dispatch centers now, state. And and because there have been some issues and, you know, people calling and not getting a response. And so the federal government has tied in some funds somehow now, and it's hardware and software, and basically it's, as soon as that call comes in, it identifies where it should have gone instead of where it landed. And I'm sure there's gonna be some kinks in that software before they get it worked out,
Yeah.
but they are working.
You know, and there's just some logistics of UHF radios, which police use up here. It's a very short wave band, and so it doesn't go over hills like the fire radios or VHF, and it's like 8 feet opposed to, you know, 16 inches or something like that. But so we do have some issues there, and like I said, when the federal budget ever passes, or if it does, I have, you know, $1.25 million in congressionally directed spending, and I'm hoping to find another tower site or two up north that we can tie into. But for the most part, our communication is okay. I don't think it's fantastic or great, but I think it's okay.
Any other questions?
Uh-oh, somebody got a call. Yeah. Yeah, so I just, what's the thought process moving forward? Do you have any idea of like, are you just gonna go out to testing on the floor, or have you guys set a budget yet, or?
You gave us some numbers there.
Okay, I didn't know
That we can-
where you were in the budget process or not.
We've already proposed our budget
Yeah.
for next fiscal year, but at town meeting it can be amended.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why we wanna ask, and so we can bring these different scenarios, as far as I'm concerned, like $47,000 a year or whatever. To the people, and then we'll vote for that or something else, more or less, whatever.
And you vote from the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have all that.
Okay. All right. More than happy to send a rep to be able to answer questions.
Okay. So no matter what, the money won't actually be able to be spent until July 1st, obviously.
Yeah.
And so, but we'll know long before July 1st what's happening, so we can either deal with you or Loretta or whoever.
Yeah. I was shocked to learn in this process that there's some towns that run on a calendar budget year. And I can't even wrap my head around that, but it's been helpful for us. A couple folks are coming online probably then. Well, anything I can do, anything you need, reach out. We're here to help, and we're ready to get you player any way that we can.
Thank you.
Right, folks, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. We'll see y'all later. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, thanks. I can have. I can have Becky run numbers as well into that budget, so like if you wanted to propose, you know, like this is what Ryan said, this is what 60,000 would get us, this is what 50,000 would get us. And if you approved it today, this is what your final budget number would be.
Right.
And you could see like what the increase, you know.
We can actually do that.
You can do that math right in your brain on the floor. Is that what you're saying? Oh, I can't. I need Becky to do it for me.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Did you have a flood of features?
I never knew Floyd. I do think I definitely.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you, Bob.
if you come up with a number, I'm more than willing to stand up and amend the budget.
Okay.
Let me know.
Thank you.
I got a coin, Sheriff.
Oh, nice.
I'll give it to Davis. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty cute.
How come you got it?
You like my heart shirt? feel like I discussed it,
Yeah.
right?
The chief, her son makes the most 911 calls.
He does too, he was all 15. It's actually Dove now, because I'll let her have my phone, and if it's like the volume button, if you hit it 5 times in a row, and she'll hold it, and she'll just be like, click, 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 and it's like 911, I'm like. hanging up really fast.
It was funny.
Dave, we might have a task for you.
Yeah.
I believe.
What's that?
John Freitag from Stratford and Julie
Corinth.
from Corinth, I
Oh.
can't remember her name, are looking to talk to Orange County Sheriff's Department. And try to figure out what's going on there, what could happen, and they want a representative to meet at least once.
No.
Well, for 10, wasn't it for 10 times this year, but it's once a month anyway.
Yeah, next 10 months.
Yeah.
Starting March 7th.
And so I don't know if you're at all interested,
It's fine. Everyone.
No,
You
you
said
said
no.
that.
Okay,
and you don't have that interest tonight either, you can just think on it.
okay. I can probably do that. I haven't put a committee together. Brenda and I have talked with Mike.
Yeah.
Think we could do that and, maybe together to do that, but that's gonna be a bunch of work.
Yeah.
It's gonna take 2 or 3 years to put something like that.
Well,
together.
you can read that, but, what he's trying to do is to see. They thought the site judges in the sheriff's department, and they're trying to. Get Orange County Sheriff Department back up, so we don't have to fire. Sheriff on, you know. But that's not gonna be a 2-day job either.
You're gonna have to have something substantial, my personal opinion, something substantial right away.
Mhm.
And maybe
Oh, yeah,
2 or 3 years
Oh,
from
no.
now, you.
Yeah.
right,
Right. States that
Right.
looks like a
no, I
real,
agree 100%.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay. I'll look into that and make something like that.
okay, thank you. And thanks for being able to, or willing to not step back when we ask you to do something.
Always looking for something.
That real goal.
That's, I'm gonna carry it in my pocket. So big.
That was a good presentation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, first time I've ever met him, he's very,
yeah, he's pretty
You've
smooth.
met him before.
I know,
You
I
can't.
missed him that time he was here.
Oh,
Oh, you
okay.
did?
I was late, I can't remember what happened.
Oh,
But
Cal got out.
Yeah. What are you thinking for numbers you'd want me to include? Probably not 108,000,
no,
but like
I
30,
do the 3, 4, and 5.
16, 27, 34? Or you mean 34, 40, say,
34, 40.
oh, hours, options 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Oh, that's fair.
yeah,
Interesting to hear that he almost immediately impacted Chelsea.
Yeah,
well, I think there's something to be said about being there.
because Robert's boy owns the garage in Chelsea, and they're always looking over across the street, so, oh, I wonder why that guy's back there, and then somebody else comes in, you know, and then everybody leaves, and apparently that's not going on. Or not.
But now it's in Tunbridge.
It's not there, yeah.
Right, well, maybe they are, but at least they're not doing it.
Well, back when I was in high school, there was a guy that went to Chelsea High School, 5, 6 years before I did. But he was hanging around a lot, and I never thought much of it. Then the sheriff came along one day and said, you better go back, you better move along somewhere, because he was dealing with drugs there. And of course, it was different 40 years ago.
They have drugs back then.
Yeah. But my point is, the sheriff came along and said, you better move along.
Well, when he's talking there, I remember, I probably shouldn't say this in front of Ryan, but, we went to dance in Randolph and we were out in the car drinking beer, and we weren't old enough. And Junior Glenn came up and he said, how you doing, Mike? And I said, good. And, he said, you leaving? And I said, yeah. He said, you leaving town? And I said, yeah. And he said, you ain't coming back tonight, are you? And I said, no. We get the hell out of here.
Oh, where are you
But
going?
he, yeah, instead of you know, throwing cuffs on us and dragging us out.
Right.
He gave us some chance to smack up.
Redeem
It's like,
yourself.
I'm calling Floyd.
Yeah. Um. Not to cut this conversation short, but would be like to, Joe's on and ready.
Oh, okay, now we're late. You leaving already, Dave?
No,
Oh, okay,
I'm coming to a more comfortable chair.
oh, okay, think about it.
Also done.
There's a couple over there, Dave, those are pretty decent.
All right, let's move on to Joe Paper.
In your packet, there is an email from Joe. And it says, I mean, he'll give you a better rundown. I love your beard, Joe. It's gotten so luscious.
I guess so.
Thank you, guys.
There's like a, Mick Beatrice makes a motion. You see it right there? That's essentially what he's looking for again, but.
Yeah. Yeah, no worries. So we have the 2023 tax sale that's happening next Thursday at the town hall. And then this is for the 2024 parcels that did not come up with payment arrangements. So this is just to authorize, I'm gonna butcher their name. I'm terrible with names. Stitchell, Page, and Fletcher to conduct that 2024 tax sale, and that specific language that was in the prior meeting minutes is exactly what she's looking for.
Ready?
I'm ready.
I make a motion to use Stitzel, Page, and Fletcher to conduct the town's tax sales.
Well, Brian seconds.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say yes.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Yeah, it was unanimous.
Perfect. Got it.
Like these pre-motion.
I think Fred, if Fred can have the floor, sorry.
Fred, you have your hand up.
Well, when it's appropriate, I have a question, a couple of questions for Joe and you.
Go ahead.
So I've seen the notices in the Herald, and I noticed the properties are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through 12. And maybe Joe doesn't know this. You say the law office is going to do this. Is that the order that they will be presented for tax sale?
Not necessarily. I would assume that they would go in that list order. This is our first time using them, but I think that's just for organization for them. But that's probably a good. It's a good question.
The second question, and I'll shut up, is at the bottom under property 12. There's a separate paragraph that mentions that one can go to the law office. Information regarding the amount of taxes due may be obtained at the offices of, I'll try it, Stitzel, Page, and Fletcher. Stitzel's the hard one, right, Joe? Did I do that right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's just I can't remember which order they're in and all that stuff. So, yeah, you can get that number from me or from them. We're their paralegal that's working with me on this is very responsive and great. So
well, then I'll send you an email with property 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, and you can put in the number of the tax, what the taxes are.
Sure thing.
That'll save me a phone call to Stitzel, Page, and Fletcher PC.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah. All right. Anything from the board?
No,
No.
not me.
All right. We're under 100,000, and this tax sale should take us to about 55,000 left in taxes, and then the 2024 sale will bring us to under 20. So coming, COVID's finally over, and we've got a good process in place. So it'll be the standard to have a tax sale in March or April every year. Moving forward, we'll go with that. So
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Keep up with it.
Thanks. Well, and we'll see you all here in a couple weeks.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Thank you all.
Take care.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Fred, don't go away.
Oh, you saw me looking, huh? Hmm.
All right.
I got a question for you, Rudy.
For me?
You personally.
Rudy, you're up next anyway.
Okay.
Got any questions for Rudy, Fred?
How you doing, Rudy?
I'm doing okay, Fred.
That's not a question.
Is
Rudy,
here?
come right over
He's
here.
here, lost his
Come on, that's a legitimate question.
here.
That's right.
Rudy, come right over here.
Oh, is
There.
that the town report? I haven't seen it yet. Oh boy.
Yeah, they only sent out 3.
How comes?
The CLA in here, I can't find it right now, is lower than what you said.
What is that? Spicy.
91.38 to 79.
Is that true?
I believe that's correct, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just thought that was
You
what
had
I
that
said.
91, 92 thing, and I didn't. All of a sudden you had that,
Right here.
they got 80 in here.
Yeah, one's right. New stuff file.
That's what Rudy says, sure.
That should be right, 79.5, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
But does that trigger then?
It's not based on CLA anymore. The legislation last year got rid of that
But what it's doing.
because 65% of the towns were triggered by that, but then they moved just the legislation made just the COD the triggering one, and still 65% of towns were above the threshold, including us.
The Fair Ways man was talking today about, they wanna design a new type of appraisal system where it would be more like an appraisal company would have a, almost county-wide, it sounds like more, so it's all these towns are like, we have to do a reappraisal, but the company we hired isn't gonna get to us this year or next year or whenever.
Several years, get in line.
Yeah, exactly, so it would make more sense to have, regions somehow that they're essentially assigned to or contractual.
Run out of cheese.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be revealed about what it's gonna look like going forward.
They should be ashamed of themselves.
I'm not, I've been with you guys long enough, no shame.
I hear from my sources in Bethel, it's been longer than that.
Oh. Nice, yeah, nice.
What can we do for you, Rudy?
I had a certificate of no suits or appeals on your table, yeah. And if you would be so kind as to sign that, we can close up the grand list for 2023.
You wanna make a motion to do this?
I make a motion that we find the certificate of no suits or appeals.
I second that.
All in favor, say aye. Tight. You got it.
So that abatement would affect it.
No, the tax abate does not affect it, right?
Correct.
Yeah, because they're not debating the value of their home. Or should-
Got it.
Super.
Pardon me.
Deb can sign it as well.
Okay, this 13th day of the back process.
No, that's okay. And then it's not part of my official business, that's a map for you to review to see if it looks okay. In black and white, it would be good to not print color for, I don't know how many copies. we want,
Probably, I was thinking, because typically only 200 people come to town meeting, I was thinking probably I'd only print 100 copies because not everybody's gonna take one.
Yep.
Same with,
What's the map of?
it's a map of Orchard Road property where the legal trail is, but also kind of zoomed out with your butter, and so everybody can see what it is that we're talking about spending money on, all that stuff.
And the flip side just has an aerial photo.
Well, quick update on that, it does not look like the mill is gonna move, because the two lawyers who deal with roads, one's leaving and one's about to leave. So they're gonna like they're barely gonna get like the big transportation bills done. And I think they're also a bit gun shy because it's still in the courts.
Everybody's scared of the
Yeah. We're talking.
Huh. Lawyers.
Yeah, I know. Have you heard anything from Sarah? We're just waiting for the Supreme Court.
No, I'm just waiting for the Supreme Court right now. Here it is, February.
Probably April, I bet.
What weren't they supposed to, well, 6 months ago, they said we we're gonna hear it in January. We just received the cross brief last Friday. So that got posted to the.
So it's not even at the Supreme Court, right?
It is at the Supreme Court, so they posted
Oh,
appellate brief and then a reply and then the reply to the reply.
So are we after the reply to the reply, or?
Just got filed
Okay,
last
so that's the
Friday.
last thing, then, right?
I believe so.
And those are all public, you've seen them?
They were posted, but they can be filed, they did not. The original brief was publicly posted, but they didn't have links to after that. They just stated that they had been received and gave a word count. And when I look at the word count, I don't see how they get to call them briefs.
Yeah. We're paying for word per word. Right?
Yeah.
We got Vermont Tree Company.
Yeah, that should be also in your packet, an estimate from Isaac to cut down the trees on Falls Hill that Rodney had flagged.
Are you guys happy with this map? Nothing. I'm just,
What, is there an article? Or is this other business?
There's not other business, yeah.
I assume it'll come up anyway. And I guess I kind of want to bring it up. Because I told you, well, you agreed to talk about it, so.
Sure. Remember that? No, but
But we need something to extend the town meeting beyond lunch.
Well, you don't think it will?
Last year, didn't it?
Yeah, last year was quick.
we talked to Lisa.
Yeah, well, we didn't talk about police or. Like some be, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Peter Flynn.
Yeah,
Thank you for helping him.
you're welcome.
So what are we gonna do? I'll make a motion, we accept the Vermont Tree Company LLC bid of $2,000 to remove 8 flag trees on Falls Hill.
I'm second that motion.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye, Hazel, so good job.
It's a band at 15 XDC, Mariah.
That's a brand new in him chipper.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
I saw him just last week in a chip. I think an 8 or 10 inch wood.
Oh,
I put the whole piece of it down.
make that old Kubota can or something.
No, it's got its own motor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Instead of electronic, computerized or whatever, so it on the line, the controls engage. And if it's taken too much, it'll slow them down or
Oh,
stop,
really?
and then it'll, that's another charge.
I like it. That takes you to
Nothing to do with that. I watched a video on Facebook or something, and this time helping some stuff down in a chipper, and they wouldn't go, and so we had an axe, and they're helping, also stuff the axe in, and the black smoke came out.
I did that. We used to go to Mrs. Mona when I worked with DTC, and we hated the whole thing because she had passed. And so around the apple trees in the house and stuff, George would mow it, but I couldn't get in there with the chopper and the wagon. So we'd break it down and we'd pitchfork it into the chopper. So in my actually the plant, I got a nice big wad and shoved it in there and sucked the fork and everything in. So we had to do a little switching on the
Oh, Butterfield, it's at the door. All right.
At least you let it go.
Purchasing policy update.
So I spoke with Mary Ann, she's doing a lot of the FEMA stuff right now, and she was saying that moving forward, she would like to increase our bid process. That we previously had it as a $3,000 cap, anything that was gonna cost over $3,000, we had to send a bid. She said that she's worried there was a few things that Ron was just like, you do this, and these contractors, we didn't bid it out, we just needed to get it fixed. So she wanted to update that to $10,000 so that if it's over 10,000, we'll do the bid process, we'll put it out and we can see what we get, but that way it's kind of at the discretion of you guys. If, you know, Rodney comes in and says, I've lined up so-and-so to fix this culvert for us, it needs to get done, we can just approve it and not have to worry about.
Did you talk to the league? Are we constrained?
I didn't talk to the league, but I don't believe that there is, but I can double check for you before we sign it, like, I can also just use it.
Well, I make the motion we extend our purchasing policy up to $10,000 before it goes out to bid.
Yeah, before a bid is required.
Before bid.
What's the school?
Ending the Google search.
We can not try to forget.
Second that motion.
Okay. So this is saying, statute 29 VSA section 161, for any state project that exceeds the sum of $50,000, that they have to have bids. So that's at a state level.
Right, but what about municipal?
I have not found it. But while I'm looking, the last thing that we had on our list, actually I have two more things. We don't, I can hand this to you then. This is their maintenance agreement. For the contractual year of 2024. And then the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was Eric Brown. I think I forwarded this to you guys. He's with the state of Vermont.
About the gate.
Yeah. And I did drive by there the other day and the gate is just sitting on the side. So it's very broken.
Maybe I didn't see that one.
Yeah, for the transfer station.
Oh,
And that's contractually something we have to have.
What's the difference between broken and very broken?
It's just extra super broken, you know,
it could be extra super broken.
really, really
Put it
broken.
on the ground, yeah.
But so we have to have a gate and we have to have it shut and we have to have it locked when we're not there. We can't have people dumping and.
Even if you can drive around through the town garage.
Right, yes. And so I said I would bring it up to you. He wants to know, you know, a kind of a timeline, just that you are on it, that it will be getting
Can
fixed.
you contact Mike?
Yes,
Get him right on
Get
it.
it, get an estimate.
yes.
Or just have
Get them very on it.
I'll get him super on it.
or just have them do it.
Yeah.
If it's less than 10,000.
So I'll just have him fix it as long as it's less than $10,000. Okay. That's all I have.
Adam wanted to come in. You know, one of our meetings, put in the class.
And he has been shoveling and has been really on top of it. He called me one day when it was kind of snowing and asked, you know, how are the stairs? Once my partner gets off her meeting, I'm gonna come down, but I just want to make sure they weren't super slick right now. So, yeah, they're fine. Then he came down and stand up.
Oh. I really wanted to start. Just. Like, it's like a. Only thing. Originally wanted to do this in town hall, but it looks like it might be too big, so it's just gonna be. You do the time.
What do you mean donation only? You go and donate what you want?
Yeah. So it's like a builder. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what?
Morale.
I did it one time and I'm not made out for it again, so I won't do it again. No offense to Emily, but, Dennis said he talked to you.
Don't believe any.
Dennis,
Oh, that's right.
so then he talked to me too.
Yeah.
So Brenda is getting married.
Got me giggled.
Did he? I'm sorry. Do I need to shut this on?
I won't tell it. No, his sister.
No, Brenda's silly. She's getting married in August. And she wants to have her ceremony in front of the Silly Bridge. So, yeah, we'll have to close that section of the road from probably Rob's, you know, over. So he wanted to know what the steps were. I know we talked to you about it too, because I was like, Dennis, you have to come. And he was like, can't you just do it? So.
Oh, I don't see his problem.
Yeah.
He said it would be for 3 hours.
Yeah.
We've done it before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He talked to you too.
No, no.
Oh, you've done it before.
We've closed the bridge before.
Oh, yeah.
Other weddings.
Okay, well, I'll get that date. Obviously, we have time, but I can say preliminary, yes, you can do it. And then
Just stick something up on the website
Yeah.
or something and say.
road close
bridge
from this house.
closed down before.
But in the barricade or something, Rodney.
Yeah.
Sawhorse or something.
Yeah.
The digital class.
Probably have to invite the town.
Yeah.
City.
Yeah.
No, he's calling me up. This is,
Yeah.
is this a business call?
So what do they do?
He said, no, he said, I'm too busy. He said, we're just taking walk-ins today.
Yeah. Perfect.
So Mike, did we ever get an estimate for fixing the deck?
I reached out to him about it and he said that I think it had something to do with the ground being frozen for putting posts in, and once it thawed, he would be able to fix it then, so. I'll ask, I'll follow up while I'm emailing.
When he gave us an estimate.
He doesn't have to do it, I think, I'm trying to get through until.
Right.
Post month season, but it would be nice to,
Oh, yeah, that's one thing Adam mentioned.
it's not great. Yet again, by order, maybe.
You think this is good? Here?
Is this for
They
year?
want to do it, yeah, for the focus being ready.
You look expensive.
I think they're pretty.
No.
Because what's the price we had at the school for?
Thought that was $750.
It's not so bad.
Can you got there
I don't have one.
last year's,
Town report.
what, have you got the budget somewhere on your computer?
I can give it to you. I don't have it. I think the, sorry. Right. Want to see that? Brian.
We've got one. The next meeting, Freetown meeting?
Yes.
During, right before, right after our meeting?
I think we'll do it right before, so I'm gonna do from 6 to 6:30, we're having an abatement hearing. You don't have to partake, you don't have to like talk about it, but.
Yeah. That's not so bad.
And then, starting at 6:30, we'll do pre-town meeting,
That same night.
yeah,
Okay.
and then I'll keep it light for the select board meeting, like, I won't. You know, if there's not anything pressing, I won't. Put anything else in.
Yeah,
We can have cheeks, yeah,
Like,
that's like, no.
like cheeks, yeah.
I make a motion that we retain Brookfield Services to do service on our generator. I'd like to go with program 2, which is 2 visits a year. $732 is prepaid by February 29th. Can we do that?
Alright,
Thank you, Rudy.
Oh, Becky has checks. Told me today she didn't have any checks. Yeah, paying bills.
yeah,
I had a good one in U-Haul today. Somebody had this card. And I ran it through, but it wasn't that good. And I told them, I said, well, yeah, I want to know how much your U-Haul was so I can put money in the card.
but they had you run it first, and then it didn't go through?
Well, she didn't know I was gonna.
Oh,
And so she had to go out and get on her phone,
Oh,
put
yeah.
money in the card and then come back in. Wow.
So, yeah,
You can take up to 2 business days before it's on the card, too.
Well, then,
Unless it was.
and then, no, it was some funny card. And then it was like a prepaid card
Yeah.
or something. And then she come in and it still didn't work. And her mother said, well, did you unlock it? And she said, well, I think I didn't. So then she goes back out and gets on her phone and said, no, I didn't unlock it. And then I tried it and then it worked. So, yeah, pretty weird. Yeah.
You know, IT.
So do you second that, John?
I did.
All right. All in
To
favor?
myself.
Oh, Mike,
Did
motion.
you get that?
oh, good, I got it.
And we were waiting on something else too.
Yeah, I'm looking it up and I think that.
Oh, okay, so we're still waiting on.
Yes, you got.
So right here it says that, federal regulations require that for construction projects over 2,000 and for all other purchases over 3,000, the municipality must maintain written documentation of the entire bidding and selection process.
I think that's what we need to do, because she was talking about FEMA stuff.
Yeah,
What
but
was
this is, okay, yeah.
We're all going to federal.
So
prison.
we have to just keep it how it was, I guess, then.
Okay.
That was like that.
You don't believe Mary Ann.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, Marianne, whatever you need.
That's all the 11 were.
And we ought to have a state rep, change that.
Yeah.
With great success. You won't keep up there what you're doing.
Minions. And they all let you back and call, and everybody up there walks down.
That was my buddy, Mayor.
I haven't seen much of him. It's doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And it's not good. I'm cool.
Ghost guns now. How many people got killed last year? With
Well,
ghost
what
guns?
our ghost guns, Christian Zeg sent me something to say about that.
If you can buy a kit, but you either gotta have you either gotta have a machine shop or availability of a machine shop. You buy a kit to make a gun with no serial numbers on it, but you have to mill a receiver and
We
drill
do it at
holes
the
in it.
tech centers.
Yeah, the kids can do it, yeah.
Huh.
But the way I understand
I'm
it,
gonna shut this up.
if I wanted